today this house believes that after the age of 18, we should have this option to whether to do or not a sport, and it should be our choice, and our freedom should be respected according to our beliefs. First of all, I'm going to explain to you what is optional. Optional is the right to choose whether to do or not something. We understand by the age of 18, the age when you become a young adult, and the age when you gain full rights and responsibilities from the state. By students, we understand people that are in college, university, and that have to do sports as an option. So, I'm going to speak today on 3 arguments of our proposition. I'm going to explain to you why it is necessary to do that before you have the age of 18, and why it has to be so. And in my first argument, I'm going to explain why after the age of 18, we do not really see why should we not oblige the young people to do that. In my second argument, I'm going to speak about the freedom of choice and how this practically imposed by to do something that they are not keen on, and they are not their freedom of choice is limited. And on the third point, I'm going to speak about the purpose of the physical education and how this it will not be achieved if we are imposing this as not an optional thing. So I'm going to pass on my first argument about why do before 18 we need that. Well, we see that sports is a good thing. We see that it helps us to develop our mentality and of course our body, and to develop us as a whole. So we see that when we are younger and when we are a little, we need that development. We need to get stronger in mentally and physical. But this development after the age of 18 is not that emphasized. So we see that the development is made basically until the age of 18 more. And after the age of 18, we have the purpose to maintain this our health and to maintain our body and our mentality. But we today are telling you that if we impose this on the age of 18, we see that this maintaining of the sports will not be fulfilled, because by making 2 hours in our college and in our university, we will not gain health. We will not be healthier. We will just have 2 hours in which we need to set our priorities and focus on something else. So we see that the health is not really maintained after the age of 18 by having this by not having the option to do this. And we see that by imposing this, they will do not have the desire to do it, and they will do it. They will not do it well by being obliged. Which leads me to my second point. Yes.
And wouldn't this ultimately de-incentivize younger generations from actually desiring to do physical education?
Well, not obliging them will do that. And we see that if people are interested to maintain their health, they will go to gyms, they will eat healthier, because that is also what maintains the stability and the mentality. And we see by making 2 hours in the college, we will not maintain this health at the level of what we need today. And we see that this measure is not needed. Which leads me to my second argument, the freedom of choice. We see that at the age of 18, we have the right. We have the right to drive a car. We have the right to drive a car and to have in our hands the life of a person. And we have the right to smoke, the right to drink alcohol. So we see that the state is actually sending us the message that we have to be responsible for our lives. We have to be, and the fact that we are capable to make a choice by ourselves, and we are capable to develop as a person after the age of 18. So we see that the state lets us this choice to trust us by giving this our right. By only imposing this, it will only have a bigger and detrimental impact on us. And why is that? Because we are forced to do something that is not according to our beliefs, and they are not giving us the chance to say, no, I do not like sports, and I do not like it, and I do not want it to do it, and especially because by making 2 hours of sports in the actual sets and in the college will not have my health. Because, as I said, the health is based not only on sports and on healthy food, and also on other stuff. So it is that by having this, we said the state gives us the right and trusts us by giving us this right that I told you. It considers us to be capable to maintain a stability in our life and let us choose what is actually good or not. So we think today that what's most important in our life is the freedom to choose on our future and on our life. And we also see that at the age of 18, by having this right, we have also priorities. We can also we need to study, we need to go to school, we need to do other things. So we see that besides this freedom of choice, we also have some priorities. And except if by doing sports, by being obliged to do that, you see that we are having the state impose us sending us the message that we have to prioritize the sport in order for us to do it. So we see that we cannot prioritize our future, and we cannot see if we have an exam and if you have to study in those 2 hours for them, we cannot have the right to have the time to do it in that case. We also lead into my third point of the case, the purpose of the physical education. So you see that the purpose is to have a healthier life. And by having this measure imposed, we do not see how really the health evolves. We do not see what such a big impact on the individual make 2 hours of freedom of sport on the health. Because as we told you, to achieve the purpose of to be healthy, we need to have a stable life. We need to have to be careful with our food and with our activities. So we do not really see how by having gaining purpose. And we also see that because we are forced to do it, we will not do it by our will and by our desire. So this actually purpose of the physical education will not be fulfilled as it is for our health and for our development, because we are not doing it because we want it, because we are actually thinking it is good for us. We are doing it because we are obliged to do it. So we are saying that it is not good. At the end of the day, taking this in consideration, we beg you to protest.
A little louder.
Yeah, sorry.
And the speaker will to invite the first speaker from side opposition.
Good day to the House at large. We, the opposition, clash on the grounds that we believe it shouldn't be an option as long as the individual is under the institution, which include the universities or schools, etc. So first step goes straight to rebuttal. The two issues that mainly came up from the side of government was the freedom of choice versus priorities in health. So firstly, under the freedom of choice, we said yes, we do concede the fact there is freedom of choice and it is necessary, it is a necessary right in society. but we see that the right to life and health outweighs the freedom to choice. If a choice is made for people that benefits their health, this actually is more beneficial than their right to choice, because we see that if that right to choice compromises their health, compromises their right to life, it actually is a detriment to them. So we see that institutions should impose physical education onto them, because it ultimately will benefit their health, will benefit their life, etc. So we see that the whole right to choice issue won't really balance in this case, because we see that it shouldn't be a choice to be unhealthy. It shouldn't be a choice to be obese, ladies and gentlemen. We believe that people who choose these directions in life are uneducated and immature in decision making, and thus in this case they are not educated enough to make the decision. They aren't mature enough to choose, and thus the institution must choose for them because it benefits them in the long term. So we see that the whole issue of freedom of choice doesn't really stand when compared to the right to life and right to health. And also, I'll go further in that later in my positive matter. They also came here and spoke about the right to students are given by the state when they turn 18. Yes, we do consider the fact the right to smoke, the right to drink, the right to have sex, the right to marry are all given by the state when they turn 18. But these rights have to be coupled with the laws and regulations of the institution, ladies and gentlemen. Just because a person is 18 and they're allowed to smoke tobacco doesn't mean they will be allowed to do so in the institution, even though the state gives them the right. We see that the rights of people has to be coupled with the laws and regulations of the institution. So we see that in this case, if that right can be taken away because of the institution, then the right to choice to be unhealthy can also be taken away. So we see that in this case, in this case, we see it beneficial for the person if that right is compromised, if for their own benefit. And we see that even if the rights been taken away, rights have to be coupled with an institution that they have chosen to be part of. You see that the right to choice actually isn't absolutely taken away, because no one forces you to go to a certain school, no one forces you to go to a certain institution. You choose to enter that. You choose to enter that being well aware of the laws, of the regulations of the institution. You are given the terms and conditions of the institution, and you choose to go into it. So you choosing to go into it, nothing stops you from leaving if you're unhappy, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll close on that issue and move on to priorities. We see that they mentioned that studying. We see that yes, academics is important, but physical education is equally important, ladies and gentlemen. We see that without a healthy body, you can't really study that well. You can't be you can't be dying of heart disease trying to study for a physics paper the next day, ladies and gentlemen. We see that health and academics are equally important, as I'll elaborate on later. So physical education should be a priority in the same line and in the same standing as academics, ladies and gentlemen. We see that we cannot turn the seesaw the other way. It has to be balanced. It has to be a balance. So we see that with the whole issue of studying and sacrificing physical education in order to study, we see that it doesn't really stand in today's debate, as we see that physical education is equally important for the learner. So we see that closing on that, and the last small subpoint of health not maintained. They mentioned that no, when you're 18 and when you're working out just for 2 hours, it's not really going to maintain your health. It's not really going to make you ultimately healthy, and not going to be effective. We see that this issue is actually completely ludicrous, because we see that even if it's not going to be absolutely a good workout, it still instills the values inside of you. It still instills that routine and that importance of health. By taking away the importance of physical education, you're taking away from their values. They don't see it as something to be a priority in life, ladies and gentlemen, and the health effects will be ultimately negative, as my second speaker will elaborate on. And we see that they spoke about people can go to gyms and stuff. We do see that after school, not many people can even afford gyms, so they should utilize what they have now, ladies and gentlemen. So closing up on my rebuttal, and lastly they mentioned that some people don't like sports, some people don't like school, but they still have to do it because it's crucial for their lives. So closing up with that, I'll move into my positive matter. I'll be dealing on one issue of the institution, and my second speaker will be dealing on health. So firstly, on the institution. As I mentioned in my rebuttal, it might sound a bit repetitive, but when people sign into institution, they see the laws, they see the terms and conditions, they know what they're in for. It's not going to be a Sunday surprise where you just go and be like, now you have to walk out, do 10 push-ups. It's not really that situation. They know what they're going in for. So we see that the role of the institution is to mold the citizens of the next generation. It is to mold and manufacture the people of the next generation, the people that are going to work, the people that are going to become presidents, etc. I'll take you now.
So the role of the institution is to modulate my character against my own beliefs
it's not against their own belief to be healthy, man. I don't believe that there's any society in the world that chooses and believes that we should be healthy and unhealthy and obese, man. So we see that it's the institution's role to manufacture, to mold, and to shape society. It's their role to instill values. Yes, academic values, moral values, ethics, and even health values, ladies and gentlemen. So it's their role to ensure that the citizens are instilled with physical education, that they are shown the importance of it regardless of their age, man. So we see that it's their responsibility, and yes, it is their mandate to make sure that people who are put in their care by parents, people who are put in their care by the government, are taken care of and are shown the correct values, correct ethics, and are kept healthy, ladies and gentlemen. We also see that because it's their mandate, they have to do this, and by taking by giving students the right to go against the laws and the terms of the institution, by giving them the right to choose opposite to their mandate, makes them not able to fulfill their mandate, and the ripple effects once they leave school or the institution could be devastating, as those values are something needed in life in order to be a functioning society. As a healthy society is a functioning society, ladies and gentlemen. We also see a little issue on it's actually an infringement of other people's rights. So let's just say, even if the right to choice is a big issue in today's debate, and even if we were taking away the right to choice and making them exercise and giving them an option, we see that it's actually unfair to other learners who are also part of the institution. They're all part of it, but just because they're younger than 18, we see it as discrimination to not give them a choice. Even if a choice was a good thing in this situation, not giving younger people the choice as well as the 18-year-old, because both of them are students, probably some of them in the same grade, just different ages. We see that it's actually unfair to other students, infringing upon their rights and their choices, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not fair to discriminate against two particular learners who are part of the same institution, probably some of them in the same grade. So we see that even if we have to give a choice to 18-year-olds, it's going to be unfair to other students. There's going to be discontent in that society, in that institution. So then we see that it's actually not going to be an effective system. And lastly, the small point of academics and sports. We see that academics and sports are equal. I'm not going to go into that again because I mentioned it in rebuttal. And lastly, we need conformity in the school and conformity to all students in the institution. And lastly, we see there should be no reason why the decision should be left to the individual, because we see that decision making isn't relative to your age. Decision making is relative to your experience. And when people are still in school, they haven't had enough life experience to make those decisions. They haven't had enough experience out of the school world, out of the little bubble they've been living in order to make decisions for their lives. So those decisions for their lives should be kept till after school, and right now it should be given to those who are responsible of taking care of them, should be given to those who are responsible of molding them to be successful citizens of society. And we see that the government needs to prove in this debate on how being unhealthy is going to be beneficial to the world. Thank you.
And the speaker, I'd like to invite the second speaker from proposition.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. The proposition team stands for today for the fact that this education, this physical education has to be done till the age of 18, because it has a real impact on the development of the society. But it seems that the opposition team didn't actually understand the big picture of this motion, and they focused on the small picture of this motion, trying to explain to us the fact that people don't actually understand how this physical education will help them. Let's first see what the opposition team stands for today and what they failed to explain and what they failed to prove the motion today. They try to explain to us the fact that the institution has the right to ask for one person to have this physical education, and when at the moment that they know what they are going in for, they have to assume the fact that they will do this physical education. When we assume the fact that by choosing this college, people actually have proved the fact that they have a responsibility and they are responsible for their own choices, and by this for their own future. Also, they talk about values. We consider that these values are imposed until the age of 18. Because at the age of 18, we already talk about a built character, a person who knows exactly what wants for his future, as we already explained that they are capable of choosing their own college, and also that they know how to manage their own life. They also talk about discrimination. When the proposition team already explained you the fact that these children have to take physical education until the age of 18 because it really has an impact on their development, take in consideration the fact that their development is happening till that age. And we see the fact that these children actually are don't actually see it as an obligation. They are children and they see sport as a recreative activity. But at the age of 18, you have other priorities and you are capable of managing your own life. Let's see exactly how they rebutted our case. When they try to explain to us that this freedom of choice isn't as important as the right to life because this physical education has a real benefit for the life. When they don't actually see the big picture, and by saying this, I refer to the fact that they must prove to us that these hours taken to this university have a real impact on the development of the of one person and of how exactly they will be healthy. We don't consider that being a healthy person means only to take some physical education school. We believe that being a healthy person is a whole system composed by sport and also a healthy alimentation. And we see the fact that only by taking these 2 hours at school, there won't be actually such a great impact as they want us to believe. Assuming the fact that I will eat non-stop fast food and I will still do this, no thank you, and I will still do these classes at school, I might be skinny, but my body will still be filled with negative substances that will only in a second. That will affect my body. Yes, please.
And how will it detriment the individual if a piece of household?
Well, this is a point that I will talk in my own case, related to the purpose of sport and how exactly by letting it be obligatory we want to achieve the real purpose of sport. Let's see exactly how they talk about physical education as being as important as focusing on school. Well, we have an interior motivation, ladies and gentlemen, and we also have an exterior motivation. And we see the fact that the purpose of sport is to motivate you and to encourage you to have a healthy life. But by letting it be mandatory, by letting it be obligatory, we will have only this external motivation. And the people and the person is motivated when his motivation comes from the interior of his mentality. When he actually believes in this mentality. But by putting these people, to do this physical education and not being aware of the fact that this has a real impact on their development, we see the fact that we will have only this external motivation and they won't actually be motivated to do these classes because they want to. Passing on to the third point of the rebuttal of the proposition case, they see that they try to explain to us the fact that when you have rights, you also choose for an institution and you have to respect their laws. When we see the fact that yes, I choose for my for the institution in which I want to study, but I don't actually have an alternative to choose for a college in which respects my beliefs and which provides me this freedom of choice, which provides me the fact that I don't want to do this sport, so they will let me in. We have these all universities in which we have to do this sport, and we see that we don't actually have from where to choose because it's all the same. Passing on to the proposition case, let's see exactly what we stand for today. We agree with the fact that sport is a good thing for the development of the society, but we sustain that it should be optional at the age of 18 because you understand how exactly you want to develop yourself and how exactly you want to be. We consider that No, thank you. And we explained you today by our three main points: the fact that no, thank you, the freedom of choice, the purpose, and also the fact that sport is important for the development of the person only until the age of 18. Because after you pass this age of 18, you have to make your own choices, and you also have only to maintain this development, because you will. The only thing you have to do is to have a good alimentation, no thank you, and also to have the minimum level of this maintenance of your healthy life. And we see the fact that by introducing this obligatory physical education, we want to actually have an impact, and that's what the opposition failed to prove today to us. We want them to prove that this impact is so important that we'll have a healthier person, that they will that these 2 hours of educational of physical education will complete the whole system that we need in order to be a healthy person. Also, we talk about the freedom of choice, and we see the fact that this freedom of choice must be respected when you have responsibilities and you are capable of completing your own responsibilities. Passing on to the third point, the purpose. We believe that a healthier life is achieved when you want to do this. Because when you are focused on other things and you have a physical an hour of physical education, you will be obliged, and we don't actually see how this recreativity and how sport as a whole concept will be respected when you force people, because application doesn't mean pleasure, and we won't complete this purpose of sport if we will take in consideration the opposition vision. Taking all this in consideration, please propose the motion.
Thank you, Speaker. I would invite the second speaker to say.
Physical education is not only sport to the beautiful government, it is learning to eat healthy, and it is exercising in using your muscles. So to clear that up, as you baffled around, I don't do this sport and I don't believe in this sport, that point falls flat now. Good day to the House at large. I'd like to move into my rebuttals. Yes, ma'am. We understand that when you're 18, you supposedly become a young adult. However, some people only conclude 12th grade when they're 19. So what are you saying here, ma'am? Are you saying that it is okay for these people to say that they are not going to follow the rules set by this education facility? Now, why join the education facility if you're going to go against what they are proposing, ladies and gentlemen? That point falls flat. They say that they will use the 2 hours to do something else, but they fail to tell us what these young people will use the 2 hours to do, ladies and gentlemen. There's so much of things to do in the facility. Yes, there's even a bar upstairs here in this facility. So you are saying that that's better to do instead of doing physical education, ladies and gentlemen? If you don't provide us with what they're going to do within those 2 hours, we are just going to take it as they do nothing, ladies and gentlemen. Thirdly, they say that these guys will eat healthy and go to the gym. But before this, she says that university life is so hard and so hectic that they are continuously working. A healthy life, or they eating healthy means you eat 3 proper meals and 2 snacks in between. If they are so busy at university, where's the time to eat these meals? Where's the time to go to the gym, as you suppose that they would go to the gym, ma'am? So you haven't provided us again with enough information. She then says that the government trusts the young people, and that is why they give them the right to choose not to do physical education when they are 18. But we see that the government has trusted wrongly, because so far there's so much obese people that the development of a thin person is actually now a big person. So that point falls flat, ladies and gentlemen. On the ma'am's point of information, which we'd like to, we beg for you to tell us which culture states that physical education goes against their beliefs. We don't understand how something that will impact beneficially to you and your health is going against your belief. You haven't proved that to us, ma'am. So, no, thank you, ma'am. So far, ladies and gentlemen, we see that the government has failed to show us how making physical education is a detriment to society, ladies and gentlemen. And they are still battling around the point that it's going about beliefs, or they have the right to choice, and that they will make the right choice, and that they will go to the gym. But as we see, ladies and gentlemen, right now they're not going to the gym, because if they were going to the gym, as supposedly they will go, there won't be such a high level of obesity, ladies and gentlemen. So we see that not my first slide. Yes, go.
And how about letting these 2 hours by sport is going to resolve this problem?
It will definitely resolve the obesity problem, and I will answer that in my case, but I'll really answer it right now. Ladies and gentlemen, if they stay in physical education and they exercise regularly, when they get out of school and they go into university and they still exercise regularly, then they will not become obese. However, if you do the physical education for these 18 years and then all of a sudden stop doing this physical education and go to university, you would get obese faster than a plane can take off, ma'am. I hope that answers your question. No, thank you, ma'am. I now like to close my rebuttals and move on to my point, which is the health issue, ladies and gentlemen. So, the importance of exercise, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to be repetitive as ma'am has asked the question and I've summed it up for her, but I will go ahead. The importance of exercise, ladies and gentlemen, exercise helps one to keep healthy in terms of their body does not store so much of fat, their heart rate, pulse rate, breathing rate is all in line and intact. They are healthy enough to live a normal lifestyle without any illnesses or sicknesses, ladies and gentlemen. That is the importance of exercise. So my other sub-point under that is it's setting them up for life, ladies and gentlemen. If they've been doing it for these 18 years, then it becomes a routine in their life. They're doing it for 2 hours every week or every 2 days, then it's a routine. There's time for it. You work your way around it. You go to school for 6 hours every day, it is your routine. You make time for it. You go every day. You do physical education every 3 days, you make time for it. It is a routine. You do it every day. So why will it be so absurd that they won't be able to do it when they reach university, ladies and gentlemen? And then too, this beautiful government has failed to tell us how it will not work, ladies and gentlemen, because if it has become a norm and they are doing it over and over again, they will carry on doing it and they will make the time for it. As if we were in high school and we party all the time, we'll make time for partying in university. So it's the same thing, ma'am. You will make the time if you really want to do it. But if you give them the choice, obviously, nobody's going to want to work hard and put their sweat and be healthy. Everybody will be like, I want to be fat. So, on the obesity issue, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't really answered spoke about this issue in that point of information, but really, ladies and gentlemen, this is a seriously big issue. It really is, literally a big issue. If they were doing very well in terms of going to the gym and the government trusting them and they will eat healthy, why is United States of America has the highest obesity rate? Why is South Africa rated as the third most unhealthiest country in the world, ladies and gentlemen? We do see that there is something going wrong here. Why? Because they are given the choice to do it. So that is why we are saying, ladies and gentlemen, if it is part of curriculum, they will do it. If it is part of curriculum and it is benefiting their marks and results, they will do it. What is so wrong with doing something that's benefiting you? You are not telling us how it is not going to benefit us. But as we can see, is that when you take away, when you give them the option, they're not going to do it. So by doing that, you're taking away results because it helps them have good results. You're also taking away their fitness. You're also taking away their independency and self-benefits, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. The stigma attached to obesity, ladies and gentlemen, that this house proposes is that as soon as you get to university, 4 too much of work, so there's no time for gymming, there's no time for exercising, there's no time for physical education whatsoever in the syllabus. So if there is no time whatsoever in the syllabus, ladies and gentlemen, how are they supposed to gym as this side of the house is proposed, ladies and gentlemen? So we see that point once again falls flat. Then also, ladies and gentlemen, exercising is just relieves stress, ladies and gentlemen. Instead of picking up a cigarette or going upstairs to the bar and having a cold beer, we can rather go to the gym and have a quick run on the treadmill, or go to the punching bag and knock up a few punches, blow off some steam, ladies and gentlemen. That is way more beneficial than going upstairs and drinking beer, ladies and gentlemen. So what have I proven to you today? I've told you the health issue, the importance of exercise, setting them up for life, obesity issue, the stigma problem, and stress relief. And that is why we believe that the opposition side should win.
Today, what really the opposition team sustains is the fact that, by the fact that we have physical education in these universities and we are forced to do it, it's not like we are going to improve in any way. Well, first, we're going to talk today in 2 points. First, improvement of health, and the second one will be the freedom of choice. So, first about the improvement of health. We have the last speaker of the opposition team told us so many things about this obesity problem and the fact that there are so many people that are obese. So we see the fact that on one hand, we have the fact that, okay, all schools now in the status quo have all the institutions or the universities promote this thing, this physical education inside the schools, and this is a mandatory thing. And we get the US problem that has so many people that are with nothing. And we see the fact that even if they have those universities where they go and do they are so well trained and coached in order to make sport, they are still obese. So we see the fact that if you don't follow nothing. So we see the fact that if we don't follow the interior motivation and we don't have something that motivates from inside us, we are not going to reach this goal. Nothing. Now, let me tell you a story. I was obese too. So, first, nothing. So, by the fact that I was making sport at school, doesn't help me to lose weight in any way. Except because I was convinced to do this. Once I realized that this is important for me, and that is what I really need to do. And the fact is that before this, I wasn't helped in any way by the fact that I was doing this sport at school. And I wasn't helped in any way by this thing. And we see the fact that what they try to say today is that, okay, but in school they teach us how to eat, they teach us so many things, they help us, they teach us how to use our muscles. It's not a real thing. In fact, you go there at the physical education class, and it's like, okay, now let's play some basketball or handball, and then let's go, and then let's go. It's like a bunch of people there, and only a coach for all that bunch of people, and you see that has no impact on what that people do. And what we really see today is the fact that this nothing that the classes of physical education that we have today, and the fact that we have 1 hour or 2 on 1 week on this criteria, we see that it's no improvement for us. More than that, we see that if we don't have an inside motivation to do this, and if we don't have nothing, and if we don't have something inside of us that tells us, okay, I really need to lose weight, and I really need to have a healthy life, we are not going to do anything in order to improve our actual situation. So what we see today is the fact that what today the opposition thinks is the fact that those hours that we do will improve so much our health, it isn't actually a real thing. And in fact, on real life, things don't work like this. Things don't work like magic. It's not like, okay, we have 1 hour and we're going to do this. Now, what we are trying to say is the fact that, okay, those people, because of this inside motivation, they will have the reason to do things in order to improve their health. And that's why we believe that they will going to improve themselves. Once we reach this motivation, no thank you, we're really going to improve our health, and we're really going to have a lot of benefits from doing this. Now, talking about the freedom of choice, the fact that this is saying us that, okay, but we have the freedom of choice in what concerns the institutions. Nothing, not concerns the institution we choose. And by this, that institution can oblige you to do this sports hours. No, thank you. But the fact is that we see that you don't have any way to choose. All those institutions require nothing. Require mandatory physical education classes, and what we see is that there is no real freedom of choice, because it's like you choose from, okay, this is a university where I is required to do sport, another one that I am required to do sport, so we see that there is no real freedom of choice. No thank you. Now, talking about the real problem and the fact that we really have a problem with the real freedom of choice with people is the fact that by an institution imposing you to do nothing that is first don't bring you any benefit by this, and we prove you the fact that there is no health benefit in what concerns this. And by imposing you to do something that will not only not have any benefit for you, but will not help you in your priorities, because of the fact that when you are at college, you have other priorities. That is important, not to have the right to choose when you are under 18, because the fact that you see that under 18 you are developing and you are having you really see sport as a recreation. But when you are but when you reach the age of 18, you see that you don't really want to do this, and this is not your priority, and you have so many things to do, you have so many exams and so many things to do, and you don't have time to do this, and you don't have a real motivation to do this if you don't need to do this. So what we see today is the fact that is the fact that you make a people do something, make a person do something that that person really doesn't want. And what we need today is people do this from inside, and to do this as they want and when they want, not when somebody asks them to do this. Because the fact that the real benefit will come only when you do something that you really want, and you as a person decide that that's what's important for you to do. No, thank you. So, at the end of the day, what we see today is the fact that, yes.
Can you please tell me how forcing someone to do exercise is going to detriment them?
Well, the fact is that it's not going to detriment them, but we don't see any benefit of doing this. And by forcing someone to do something, it's not like you are going to have any improvement. It's not like you have any result. And just by the fact that it's not going to detriment them, it's not like it's going to help them in any way. So the fact that you as the opposition team today should have shown us the fact that it has so many benefits, and we told you today this fact. And the fact that it's not as a fact detrimental for them doesn't bring you any benefit. So what to do something and what to force somebody to do something if it doesn't have any benefit for that person. So as I said before, at the end of the day, we see the fact that we don't have any improvement on what concerns the health by doing by applying this measure and by making the status quo as it is now. And in the second point, we see the fact that we infringe the freedom of choice of the people, which is the most important freedom of one person. And we really don't need to do this in order to have no benefits. No benefits is for us is for us more important things. So what we really think today is that you should propose the motion.
And the speaker, I'd like to invite the last constructive speaker for this debate opportunity.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, what we see in today's debate is a side proposition who clearly do not understand the basics that a healthy body ensures a healthy lifestyle. It ensures a healthy mind. That in itself is beneficial. And this is exactly why physical education is crucial, it is important, and it should be made compulsory over the age of 18, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what we side opposition firmly believe. Now, in today's debate, we have two major issues. The first being the freedom of choice, which was harped on by both sides of the House, and the second being the benefits of physical education, which we side opposition have proven to you in today's debate. Now, on the freedom of choice, we see that side opposition have mentioned that it is not necessary to do physical education after the age of 18 in institutions. And they mention the right to choice, ladies and gentlemen. But what we side opposition are saying is that physical education is in fact a part of the syllabus. In many countries, physical education involves CAS marks which goes into your grade 12 report, ladies and gentlemen. And this is very important. By removing physical education, we see that it's going to be a detriment onto learners, ladies and gentlemen, because it is in fact a part of the syllabus. It is working in the status quo. So why should we change it, ladies and gentlemen? We see that point doesn't stand. And on the point of right to choice, we see that freedom of choice means equal rights for all individuals, not just individuals over the age of 18. Therefore, we see that the point of freedom of choice clearly doesn't stand in today's debate, because what we're ultimately doing is we're giving a certain group of people the freedom of choice, yet we are taking away the freedom of choice from younger students who are under 18, who aren't given the option to do physical education, ladies and gentlemen. So we see that the freedom of choice really doesn't stand in today's debate, simply because we are giving certain people the freedom of choice and certain people aren't getting the freedom of choice. We see that this is in fact a discrimination, ladies and gentlemen. And on our side of the House, we say that we are giving them the freedom of choice to choose which institution they want to attend, ladies and gentlemen. So we see that our point on freedom of choice really stands, and their view on freedom of choice doesn't stand in today's debate anyway, ladies and gentlemen. We also see that for many years, many people have fought for equality. What does equality mean? Equality means equal rights for all individuals. By giving certain people the freedom of choice, we're taking away these equal rights. Therefore, proposition's freedom of choice point in today's debate has no grounds, ladies and gentlemen. They then mentioned that learners who do not like sport will be forced to do sport. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, what about those learners who are under the age of 18 and they do not like sport? They are forced to do sport as well. If they are forced, then so should the elder learners, ladies and gentlemen. So that point also falls flat. Then we see that if the right to choice detriments the right to a healthy lifestyle, it does not really stand, ladies and gentlemen. The right to a healthy lifestyle is extremely important. Without a healthy lifestyle, you cannot really survive. You cannot work at optimum, ladies and gentlemen. So we see that physical education is in fact beneficial, ladies and gentlemen. And we also see that institutions are there to in fact guide people. Institutions are there to mold people. It's to make them better and to improve their standards, ladies and gentlemen. We see that physical education does in fact go hand in hand with academics, ladies and gentlemen. Parents put their children into institutes in order for their children to grow and become better people, ladies and gentlemen. The institute is under government mandate or the private mandate to ensure that these learners work at optimum level, ladies and gentlemen. Physical education is a part of this, and we do not see why it shouldn't be made compulsory, ladies and gentlemen. Then we see that once an individual is in an institution, you have to follow the rules of that institution, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot just say, okay, now that I'm in this institution, I don't want to do physical education. You enter an institution knowing what you're getting into, ladies and gentlemen. You read the rules, ladies and gentlemen. You know what the institution is like. You know that they're going to force you to do physical education. If you do not like that, simply don't go there. You have a problem, don't attend go to the institution, ladies and gentlemen. So you see that point also doesn't stand. Then they mention a their man, and they said that sports will no longer be respected if people are forced to participate in it. But ladies and gentlemen, by suddenly saying you now have a choice and you don't have to do sport anymore, how exactly are we respecting sport, ladies and gentlemen? Where is the respect for sport and exercise if you are saying, you know what, it's not that important anymore, you can just stop doing it, ladies and gentlemen. So that whole point of respect doesn't really stand as well. They thereafter mentioned the beliefs, and once again we said that you enter an institution with knowledge, and that point also doesn't stand. Yes.
Why can you exactly why can you have a healthier lifestyle after the age of 80 by not doing educational sport that's why can't you have a lifestyle after 18 by not doing sport that's
You see, what really happens is once you are told that you no longer have to do sport because it's not that important, no one's really going to go out there every day and start exercising, ladies and gentlemen. As teenagers, we all know that we would much rather sit on social networks and play video games. No one's really going to exercise and break a sweat. They would much rather do other activities. Therefore, by forcing people, you're forcing them to do sport, you're forcing them to benefit themselves.
Yeah.
Hence, that point falls flat. Thank you, ma'am. Now, looking at the benefits of physical education, they mentioned that after 18, there is no desire. This is exactly what we are saying. If there is no desire, how are the people going to benefit from this? People need to be healthy, and we need to emphasize on the health benefits of physical education. Hence, this is important. They then mentioned that students will have other priorities, ladies and gentlemen. We see that because of these other priorities, physical education will be ignored once students go home. Students will go home to study, ladies and gentlemen. They're not going to go to the gym, like side proposition has mentioned, ladies and gentlemen. So we see that by making it compulsory, the importance of physical education is in fact highlighted. They are able to do physical education within their time in the institute. Thereafter, they don't have to go and do it within their own time, and they can focus on the academics, like side proposition 1, ladies and gentlemen. They also said that physical education is not going to help in any way at all, and they have in fact mentioned that, and there is no health benefit, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we side proposition fail to understand. Because if someone is forced to do physical education, that means they're working out. Even if they lose 1 calorie, ladies and gentlemen, that makes a difference. A difference is a benefit, and that proves that overall there will in fact be a benefit to society by physical education. So we have proven to you that there are benefits of physical education. Then there is the point of obesity, which was brought up, ladies and gentlemen. You see that they mentioned that in America that they are offered physical education and there's still obesity. But why is there obesity in America? Because children are given the choice to participate in physical education. The fact that there is obesity because there is a choice, ladies and gentlemen. But by taking away the choice and making it compulsory, we are forcing them to exercise. The children are going to start exercising. It's going to become a part of the norm. They're going to start losing weight, ladies and gentlemen. And once they are forced to do exercise, it's going to benefit them, ladies and gentlemen. They may not lose weight suddenly, but if they lose 1 or 2 calories, it's okay, ladies and gentlemen, because there is a difference. We are trying to solve the problem. Therefore, we see that point falls flat, ladies and gentlemen. We see that physical education overall is in fact beneficial, like I've proven to you today. And we see that what side propositions still need to come and prove to us is how will physical education detriment an individual, ladies and gentlemen. They have mentioned that it will not detriment. They need to show us, which is exactly what we are trying to prove. They have to show us how it wouldn't benefit the individual, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
And the speaker, I'd like to invite the last speaker from side opposition.
Continuing to the House at large. In today's debate, we had a really confused government because they conceded to the fact that forcing physical education on individuals has no detriment. They conceded to the fact that the status quo or forcing individuals to have physical exercise has no detriment to the individual. So then we fail to see why they want to change it if it has no detriment on them. If it has no negative effects on the individual, why change it? We see this concession as completely contradictory to the entire case in today's debate and actually helped us to prove our case. So basically, I'll be dealing with 2 questions here. On would it be effective to, would it be beneficial to remove or to give them a choice? and the whole issue of priority of sports versus education. So first of all, under the whole issue of will it be beneficial, we see that government came here and told us that, you know what, it's actually not going to be beneficial to them to exercise or to be forced to exercise, because first of all, we're taking away their right to choice. Under that, we saw that, you know what, under the right to choice, we see that there's three folds here. In one, the right to choice, because you have a choice of which institution you're going to, which you're not going to elaborate on. Secondly, it infringes upon the right to choice of other learners who belong to the institution. And thirdly, we see that why should the institution change their laws, or why should the institution be taken away of their right to choice of what they wanted to achieve for their learners. We see that's completely unfair to institutions, because an institution is responsible for themselves. They have set up standards of the institution, standards of what marks to achieve, standards of what you need to get into it, standards of what they want to achieve for their learners. They have set parameters in place of what they want to achieve for their learners by the time they are finished. They know what they want to achieve, and by making students have the right to choice, to take away the institution's right to choice of excellence. And we see that this is ultimately a bad thing for society. So we see that we rather, if a person has a problem, let them have the right to choice. Yes, we're all for freedom of choice. Let them choose an institution that accommodates their belief to be unhealthy. So we see that that whole issue of choice really comes more as the opposition's version of it. And we see that under the other issue, they spoke about how it's not going to actually benefit their health, because you know what, they're working out compulsory till 17 and 18 they just stop, so it's already there, things like that. What we see is that it's the whole issue of the importance and respect and honor of the sporting or of exercise in today's society. We see that if academics are given a higher priority, because you see, obviously school is compulsory, you have school is something that's utmost important, and we see that just as some people don't like school, they don't have to do it because it's beneficial for them. The same thing with sport. We see what happens in this case is that they're doing sport right until they're 18, and all of a sudden you're saying, now you choose whether you want to do sport. But giving someone the right to choose whether they want to do sport or exercise, it shows them that this thing really isn't as important as academics. It isn't really the most important thing in your life. You keeping yourself healthy isn't that important. And by saying it isn't that important, it de-incentivizes people to actually exercise, which ultimately leads to obesity. Just we mentioned with the issue of obesity, which is that we have a high obesity level in the world as a whole, and we see that there is a problem with obesity, and we see the reason for that is that because in America they're given a choice. Once they're given a choice, the importance of exercise is taken away, and thus once they leave school, they're not really going to engage in exercises. They're probably some social networks, etc., ladies and gentlemen. So we see that forcing people to exercise actually forces them to recognize the importance of exercise, and we need this in society in order to solve the problem of obesity, and in order to solve the problem of priority of sports and exercise in our society. And I also just like to point a little issue on that, you know what, that physical education is actually just sport, it's exercise and actually educating people on eating healthily, etc. So we see that this importance is something that's crucial in order to have a sufficient society. And lastly, we see that in terms of health, there's only benefits for the individual. Even if they force to exercise, still benefits their health. And if there's no detriment, as the government has said, why change it, ladies and gentlemen? So we see for this reason, the motion should most definitely fall. Thank you.
Speaker, I will invite the last speaker.
In order to restrict somebody's rights, there have to be a lot of benefits at the end of the day. And the proposition team considered that the opposition team should have proven to us today that there are a lot of advantages when we restrict this freedom of choice of a person at university. Let's see exactly what happened through this debate and why the proposition team explained to you clearly that we have three major points, and we explained to you that by letting this be mandatory, there is actually no benefit, there is actually no advantage for the people involved in this whole system. Let's pass to the freedom of choice. We explained to you clearly that at the end of the day we have to gain some benefits
by restricting this freedom. And we have the fact that we've got two classes of people, those under the age of 18 and those over the age of 18. And those people over the age of 18 that we are talking about today are the ones who can choose for their own future and who are capable of managing their own lives according to their own beliefs. Those under the age of 18 who have been so discriminated in this debate are actually those who must focus their life until the age of 18 to their development. And the proposition team explained to you the fact that this physical education is very important until that age because it creates the character and the healthy body of a person. Taking consideration the whole system. But after the age of 18, we see the fact that we only have to maintain this development that we gain through this physical education until college. And we see that at the end of the day, there is actually no improvement taking consideration the other two main points of the proposition here, the purpose of sport and the role of it in the development of somebody's life. Let's see exactly what is the role of this sport in the development of a person and why the proposition team proved to you the fact that this sport isn't the whole mechanism in which we gain our healthy life, because we explained clearly the fact that these 2 hours of sport are only a small part and they don't actually manage to balance the whole system that we need in order to have a healthy life, because we must take into consideration the other factors that we've brought to you today, such as alimentation and so on. And even if we would assume that the fact that we will have these 2 hours of sport at school, taking into consideration the fact that after the age of 18, I am responsible for my own life and I want to eat in some way or another, there is actually no benefit because I can do this hour school, but at the end of the day we'll see that there is actually no improvement because I won't take in consideration the other steps in order to have a healthy life. Passing on to the purpose of sport and how exactly it can be achieved when we force people to do this, taking in consideration the fact that we restrict their freedom. We have these people who don't actually see this educational hour, sport education, as being so important for their development. And we see that at the end of the day, by forcing them to do such a thing, they won't put all their effort in order to achieve this goal. So at the end of the day, we'll see that by restricting this freedom, we won't actually have an improvement. And the proposition team considered that explained it very clear. Taking all this in consideration, please propose the motion.
Thank all speakers. Please cross the floor and shake hands. We will call you back in when we're ready to deliberate. General brief feedback to both teams, and then you can approach us both for your individual feedback. It was a unanimous decision for side opposition. Now, in terms of how clear of a result was a little different between myself and Hannah. So I think that's one thing you guys might want to talk to us about as well. But the way I saw the debate, I felt that the opposition team had much more of a control over what the debate is supposed to be, whereas government team was not very clear about what is the thing that you want to fix? It seems like you want to talk about freedom of choice, but the problem that I had was that the idea of what is the standard of taking away somebody's freedom of choice took so long to be developed throughout the debate. I also felt like the opposition team needed to have a clear distinction between the first and second speaker to make sure that the arguments are distinctively independent, because it sounds a little redundant. But more importantly, I felt that the government team, this is confusing me. Government team so far. I felt that in general, government team had a better strategy of trying to set a clear goal as in making the society healthier. And then what happened throughout the debate is that later on their burden of proof kind of weakened later when they said, oh, if it's just a little bit more exercise, if it's just a little 1 calorie less, then it's okay, it's better, it's better. And that's when I need to have that standard from side proposition telling me it's not about 1 calorie, it's not about just a little bit of exercise. It has to be something significant enough to justify taking away those freedom of choice of individuals. I felt like that core issue of what the debate is supposed to be was not really addressed in the whole debate, and that's why I thought it was a clear win for side opposition. So congratulations. One thing I do want to point out, number one, make sure you're sitting on the right side. Government sits on the right side of the podium. Otherwise, you'll have the chair like me get confused when they give feedback. But also, I see a little bit of quite a bit of a disparity in terms of POI giving and receiving. Opposition team, you guys are dangerously close to starting to look like hackling the government team. I was actually about to say, stop doing that, except then, time ended. So next time, be very careful. Even if you feel like the speaker is not accepting your POI, and I understand the frustration, you don't want to come across as rude, and some judges will take a lot of points off of you and penalize you massively, so be careful. With that said, government, I felt that you guys do need to take POIs a little more, but also you need to offer a lot more POIs. There's a very big distinction between who is actually offering POI and who is definitely not going to offer POIs. Okay, so that kind of dynamics is not very good in presentation of the team. It looks like somebody's weaker in the team, so be careful with that. So that's about it in terms of what I want to say in general. So if you have questions, please approach us. Otherwise, enjoy your lunch. Do the thing. Yeah. 12 minutes.
Sorry, what time does lunch start?
I believe it is 12.
Okay.
Oh no, we have a lot of time. Lunch is oh no, we have round 4 before lunch. Oh no, this is round 4. Okay, lunch starts, sorry. Too much thinking. Lunch starts at 12:45, so I think if we have a bit of feedback and we'll get over it, and it's
Hours.
Alright. Okay, one thing I didn't like about opposition team is this one argument that you guys had later on about the first speaker argument about the other people's rights. I thought that was not really the first thing to talk about in the way it was presented. Because the way you guys were saying is that even if it shows it's more supportive, then we should also give that choice to 18-year-olds as well. Number one, sometimes it's kind of meaning in your case now, if you agree or if these guys are able to say this is enough that choice, then we should allow this to expand this to everybody.
And then the right to choose is
number
so
two,
much bigger
there's also much better to turn this around. Other people's rights, when you're usually talk about sacrificing people's interests, you're talking about tangible benefits and harms to society.
even if
For
there is a
example,
benefit
people are not going to it, people stop exercising and become fat as
They came in with
Then I think
points about how
talking about how there's a social liability
those
in
underage
society,
and
how that
overage.
ends up
I thought,
demanding more money and
a pretty nice way to deal with it.
that kind of organization, that kind of close should be much better rather than say, well, we should give choice to little kids as well. I think as a makes it sound like your principle is not kind of an issue of
that, yes, as
other than that, I felt that the leader organization did a good job trying to establish what this is supposed to be about.
when a person is over the age of 18.
I like your
It was at
argument
that time
or
that,
your rebuttal about how
because they've been
the
saying a lot about
not
how it was
prioritizing
the
it. That was something that was
responsibility
consistent with
and
those
the institution, you know, who had been given the responsibility of caring for
I
these
just
vital
felt like
parents, which is my
you could have been a little more critical on the government
government
team saying,
you know,
what
so
are you
a
trying to
little
say?
bit more explanation of how this
in the very beginning, it is quite obvious that they
why
are
it's something that
relying
should
on
be
the solution
relying on even if there is
and
some
a lot
benefit.
one of the things that
Because,
a
you
lot
know,
of people
what you
often
did
say
at
about
the end
this
was sort
is
of
that,
say, well, yeah,
you know,
there
that
are some
never really
benefits of
doesn't
it.
mean
But
anything.
since you hadn't
The way
done,
you
you know,
turn
said at the
around
beginning that that
institutional
would, you know, carry
merits
its
of how they
you
have the right
push
to
to
force
form your line opposition.
and how you
Because,
see
you know, for
the
example,
that's
you
good.
do have pretty
I
much
think
no
add on the
time
fact of
yet.
like why
You
it's
know that's
making a
is
little better.
wonderful. So saying
Because
that, you know,
everybody
yes,
is
it
making
might be
the whole
wrong
case
for
of
people,
government
but
and
still, you know,
also
just
the
to your point,
points
and say
the
you're
next
going to
government
be in line at
because
choice
we know
is
it's
something
talk
that
about
is,
why
you know,
we
so
not
much more
why
essential to a person.
Pregnant that I do
speech,
worry that some
this
judges
is my
may say this
speech.
person way too fast.
I thought
So
that
I
the first
would
point
say
and the last
slow
point were a little
down
bit
a
too
little
similar
bit
to be
to know
divided
how
into 2
the
points, maybe it could be just one. You know, saying
second,
how
I let you know
one
some people may
person
say
is
that too
overage.
aggressive and rude.
It is his
Just
desire or whether he wants to do something. And this is where it's understand about
calm
support
down.
and
Or have a bit of like
it could have been more
a
distinct,
bit of
maybe it was,
emphasis
but then it
rather
would
than
have had to be
screaming
explained
and
a little more. And don't forget,
then calm down and then screaming when you need to, right?
Say,
So,
well,
like I'm an Asian baby, I'm used to aggressiveness, but some judges aren't, okay? So, careful about
regarding style,
that.
I did like your
felt
style,
that.
but you need to be careful about, you know,
Yeah.
being style like that because it can also be distractive, especially, you know,
Oh,
you can use
one
your
thing I
hands
think
to
you
just
needed to deal
engage
with was that issue of about this is like Deputy Prime Minister, she talks about Prime Minister, she talks about how internal motivation is so important. I think none of you guys really talked about that. You didn't talk about why it's better even without motivation.
So
You, if you do some things, it's okay, it's better, and some benefit is better than no benefit. But you never dealt with the
Okay, so be
idea of
careful about
whether
that, because
people are going to
something
be
that
discouraged because they're forced or not.
So, you know,
I think if you had a stronger
something,
opponent,
you
then
know,
the government team would definitely come back up and say, they can see to the harm of forcing people when people think they're old enough to make the decision. So I think that was a point that you should have
But then when it came to the constructive part, you just said it in like 1
other
minute
than that,
or
time
already.
management.
And what you said was that
Stop
you're
talking after
repeating
8:15.
rather than rebuilding. If you have, you know,
I
different
felt
activities
like you
between
are
that.
probably the
When something's been
closest
attacked, you
to
can't really say the same thing
being
and
seen
have
as
to say it.
happening.
You know,
For two
some sort
reasons.
of
Number
area
one,
to
you stand up like right
what has
after
been
your
said
partners
from
have been rejected.
the other side.
Okay,
I like what you said about user
after these guys get
That is sort of
rejected,
what I
stand
thought was
up, and
the
that just
view
seems like some
material
say
because I
like
wanted
you
to,
should
you know,
teach
put something
something
there.
trying to hackle that speaker.
At the same time,
It's also because the way
how
locally
orange
oriented
motivated
rights
from the
against
inside,
everyone
why don't you?
this.
You know, why doesn't that
like,
help you, like,
you know,
illustrate
hide the frustration a little, that will seem a little more politically correct.
having a really bad day,
Okay,
just standing there. He won't be, you know, really trying to win the basketball game and then really running around, just, you know, just
Again, I really don't like this point about how this is discrimination against the young kids, unless you're sort of really ready to say like even young kids should know that they should, if they're okay with this freedom of choice, then we should allow older people and every child to choose as well. Like mine, I understand this. I understand you have to because it was part of the case, but again, I think when you had the idea of freedom of choice being less important than social health in general, social welfare in general, then you want to prioritize that in your speech, you want to give that more emphasis, because we started only about like half as much time compared to like the discrimination part. And to me, it's really the discrimination part was involved is
looking as if they feel they're losing, or that the judge begins to feel they're losing, even if it's,
I think
you
you
know,
are probably the
without that,
ones
it's
that
actually
really
content-wise,
do the line with
makes
a low
you lose
burden
those.
for opportunity. Like
Was one of the
even
things
if
that
anything, we are still making this little difference.
In
In this round, it goes well because the government
But other than that,
conceding that again,
I actually liked your speech regarding
if you,
structure.
I think in other debates, it might seem a little too defensive.
Very well chosen.
Make sure
And
you also strategy.
You know, talked about
the other team is reacting.
time.
Because a lot of times when you do that, a lot
At
of
the same
good
time,
reply speakers will come
you know,
up here and
again,
say,
saying
oh, you
we
guys
didn't show us
defensive, or
any
you guys
extra
are very
benefits, also
soft,
we're
or
going to
you're soft
explain
stance,
we actually have
wishy-washy,
shown you what's
like you have
extra
nothing to
benefit.
say but a
What you
small
need to say
tangible
was,
benefit.
okay,
So
the
you
extra
see
benefit
it
they
almost
will show
sounds
us
as
is
if
too
you're kind of
small
moving away
for
from
us
this
to even
today and
consider
you're trying to like,
restricting this
you know,
freedom of choice.
evaluate
And
or
again,
calculate
explain
benefits.
why that freedom of choice
So be
was
careful about that.
so important.
In this
And
debate,
then
it
the
works.
reply
Okay.
speech, that
Reply,
was it was
no
actually
problem
very
at all. I thought it was good. Yeah, and then I introduction talking about how they're determined clients kind of finding themselves in this
coming up and saying, okay, I
So
will
all in all, I think you guys are really good.
some of these
Good
are
manner.
questions.
Just told
You
me
know, these are the questions I see which could add to the feeling I have that you generally know where you want to go, what you think would be important to you. And then, you know, just creating, there's a lot of paper has, it's great, just kind of get into the more structure and just looks great.
Just like a little bit more of a little team presentation. I felt that in general, the team line was not very clear, like exactly what is your definition of choice or how much choice are you willing to give to individuals was not really set out from yourselves, from your team collectively. But more importantly, when these guys start asking questions about like cigarettes, how you can't smoke anywhere, we always have these traditional regulations. Because of that, I think there needed to be a really quick comeback on these issues and like a distinction between cigarette smoking in a non-smoking place versus, you know, being forced to physical education. Another problem is that as a whole team, I feel like the breakdown of the argumentation is not really done strategically. Following number one, the first speakers will going to talk about why necessary before 18, and then the second speaker is going to talk about why not after 18. Those two lines of argumentations are bound to be repetitive because you're making comparisons. You can't only talk about before, only talk about after. You're going to have to make comparisons of it as a repeat. So what happened at the end is that those two speakers kind of seem very redundant. That's one thing. In terms of personal points, Prime Minister, I think your setup of the debate really needs to be a little more clearer in terms of what is the problem that you're trying to solve or what is the benefit you're trying to achieve in this debate. It could be diverse things. It could be about making a more responsible adulthood. It could be about having a more like civic democratic freedom. It could be more about making sure people are more responsible. Whatever it is, just tell me what you're trying to achieve. Because in this debate, what happened is that the opposition later on came up and said the problem is the obesity, the problem is unhealthiness, and that's because we don't do this. So this is how we're going to solve it. So I felt like the team dynamics and problem all was a bit reversed today. Maybe it's because he was sitting on the other side. But yeah, so I felt that the start of the debate was not very sharp from the government team. At the end of your speech, I had this question, it was like, why are they still not going to be healthier, or why are they not healthier already in the status quo?